It just ends? What? What? Hi, everybody. I'm Skip Alzheimer. Welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime Streaming Show, where we watch old 16mm films. And that was a film about Lincoln. And it was silent. And so on Friday, we celebrated Silent Movie Day. And, like, theaters across the world. And this was kind of a spillover. Yeah. And yeah, we all need to watch some sort of recreation of Abraham Lincoln at least once a year. So this is, if you haven't up to this point, there it is. It's for you. Okay, so behind me, I have all these stacks of films because guess what? More films are showing up. Is Film Scanner, and we got a film set up. So this is maps and their meanings. Enjoy.
This is a map of the United States. It is called a physical map. Its colors are beautiful, but what do they mean? What does the dark blue and the light blue of the ocean mean? Or the dark green of the central south? Or this lighter green farther north? Or the yellow area? The orange? The red? Men who make maps use different colors to represent different land and water areas. This helps you to understand the meaning of one color arrangement used to represent typical land and water areas. Dark blue is used on this map to show ocean water over 600 feet deep. Light blue is used to show ocean water not over 600 feet deep. Dark green is used on maps to show land lying between sea level and 500 feet above sea level. Light green is used to represent land up to 1,000 feet above ocean or sea level. Yellow is used to show land as high as 2,000 feet above the sea. Orange is used to represent land up to 5,000 feet or about 1 mile above sea level. Red is used to show still higher land, up to 10,000 feet, or about 2 miles high. And brown for the few highest mountains which rise above 10,000 feet over ocean or sea level. Like reading a book, we can learn to read maps. What does the light blue of the map really look like here in the waters of the Pacific coast? From high above, coastal waters look blue. This water is not over 600 feet deep. Fish and other ocean creatures useful to man live in these shallow waters. In waters of this depth, men fish for tuna and make their living as commercial fishermen. Farther north, others fish in the shallow waters along the coast for valuable catches of salmon. In these shallow waters along the Atlantic coast, many kinds of fish, shellfish, and lobsters are caught. This man who makes his living by fishing for lobsters along these rocky shores is measuring one of his catch to see whether it is long enough to keep. What does the land represented by dark green actually look like? Green on our map means that the land is low and may have low rolling hills. This land is usually fertile and is useful to man if water is present. Here on the west coast, man may use this land for growing oranges, and other fruits. Other areas may be used for growing fine grapes or vegetables. In the Central South, another land area is also colored dark green. This land too is low and rolling. Here the dark green is used to represent a great lowland plain lying along the coastal area of southeastern United States. Much of this land is used to grow such crops as vegetables, rice, or cotton. Here temperatures are mild, and the growing season is long, and heavy rainfalls make it possible to grow large crops of sugar cane. Farther north in the valley of the Mississippi River, the map becomes light green. Light green is used to represent land that is higher, up to 1,000 feet above the sea. Excepting for this difference in elevation, the land often appears much as it does in lower land areas. This land is generally flat with rolling hills. In many places it looks much like the land farther south, but it is higher above sea level. Because it is farther north, the growing season is shorter. On land like this, man may raise corn or other grains such as oats, wheat, or barley. Other land may be used as pasture for dairy cattle. Similar pastures support fine horses, or are used as feeding lots for hogs. This is the land where corn is said to walk to market because so much corn is used to fatten the hogs. Other farming activities may be found in the higher plains area, represented by yellow and orange on our map. Here on lands where buffalo once roamed, herds of beef cattle like these black Angus grow fat on prairie grasses. These high dry plateaus grow little else than grass and beef. And off on the horizon, beyond these Hereford cattle, foothills may be seen, which usually mean that beyond them the land rises higher and higher. Such highland areas of the United States, which lie between 5,000 and 10,000 feet in elevation, are represented by red on our map. This high plateau at an elevation of 7,000 feet is like many areas represented by red on our map. These areas are often used for sheep grazing because land and moisture conditions will not allow other farming activities. In other locations, and at elevations between 5 and 10,000 feet, where good soil and ample rainfall occur, much of our timber resources stand clinging to the sheer slopes of high mountain ranges. Similar forests cover the highland areas of the eastern United States. These low-rolling mountains of the New England states are old, worn-down mountain ranges. Because they are older and less rugged than the younger, higher Rocky Mountains of the western states, they take on the appearance of low, rolling hills. These are the Green Mountains of Vermont and New Hampshire. And now let us locate the highest land of the United States, that land which on our maps is colored brown, over 10,000 feet in elevation. Land over 10,000 feet is found in several of our western states. This land is above timberline. This means that most trees cannot grow at this elevation. Temperatures are too low, and the soil is too rocky to permit large plant life to grow. Only the most rugged dwarf trees and plants can survive. At this elevation, some mosses grow between the rocks, or varicolored lichen cling to the larger rocks and grow in the cold and snow of this high elevation. Altitude is only one thing which influences the land and the way man uses it. Latitude or distance north or south of the equator may cause great differences. Farmlands located here have a short summer season. Such farmland may be used to produce quick-growing grains, vegetables, and fruits. This apple orchard is in the upper Mississippi River Valley. But similar land to the south may look like this semi-tropical area near the mouth of the Mississippi River, where slow-growing rice is being harvested. Closer to the equator, this land of warmer temperatures and longer growing season produces crops not possible farther north. Rainfall also influences the way man uses land. In the same latitude belt and at the same general elevation, we may see well-watered valley lands where plentiful rainfall makes things grow. Or short distances away, we may see land without water, and land without water is of little use to man because few plants can grow. Some plants that do grow look like this cactus, which neither man nor animal can use. But what causes more rain to fall one place and less to fall on another? Within 30 miles of this well-watered forest, we can find barren land like this, where at the same elevation only cactus or nothing grows, which is of use to man or animal. What causes this change in rainfall within such a few miles? Air traveling over oceans or land picks up water vapor. Sooner or later, these air masses will drop some moisture in the form of rain or snow. Often, as air is forced upward over mountains, rain or snow will fall, because as air rises, it cools and can hold less moisture. As this air moves past the heights and on into the warm valleys, it can again pick up moisture from the land beneath. So it is that the well-watered or windward side of this mountain looks like this, and the lee or rainless side looks like this desert wasteland. If man wishes to use this dry but often fertile land, he must bring water to it from wells or through irrigation canals. Then things will grow, and the dry desert land becomes productive. Here are beautiful date palms in the midst of the desert, watered entirely by irrigation. Thus, as we learn to read our maps, all the colors have meanings. We know that colors mean elevation, beginning with the dark blue for the deep ocean, and light blue for the shallow water, dark green for lowland, and as the land becomes higher, light green, yellow, orange, red, and finally brown, which represents high land above 10,000 feet, as we see it here from an airplane flying 4 miles above sea level. As we read the colors of our map, we know that their meanings are changed by latitude. Warm temperatures and long growing season allow men to use the land in one way in the south, and in another way in the north. We must also remember that without water, the land may be a useless desert. But with water brought in through irrigation canals, the same land may be made productive. We must recall all these ideas if we are to be effective readers of the story which maps can tell.
So, that narrator lulled me to sleep. He was so gentle and thoughtful, and maybe a little bit tedious, they're not all hits here at AV Geeks, but we got to watch them all. Got to watch them all. It's like Pokemon, but film. I don't know. I've never played Pokemon, so I don't really know beyond that. All right. Anyways, here, let's learn about operations in public shelters. Enjoy.
The United States has been attacked. According to plan, the citizens of Middlebury have occupied the town public shelter.
Bill Floyd didn't make
This is shelter number 126.
Yes, she's here. The place is filling up fast. I'll let you know as soon as he gets here. I'll have him called. Otherwise, I'll call back in 15 minutes. Right? Okay. Wait. Hold up. Gary. Well? Gary. Gary.
It's me. I'm not in charge.
Forget it. Gary!
Yes, Bates speaking. Bill Floyd.
He didn't make it.
Hold on. Who's got the figures?
Kamsky. Kamsky!
Yeah, wait a minute. Here you go. Yeah, 55 total. No, that's not bad. But we do have some infants. And our manager didn't make it. That's right. Bill Floyd. Well, I guess I'll have to take over for now anyway. But I've been out of touch lately. Well, must be some other member of the team who's better qualified? No? Well, all right. Yes. Yes, okay. Well, it looks like I'm it. For now, anyway.
No one else here has the training you have.
That was a while ago. I've been away while you've been setting up here.
We set up by the book. You shouldn't have any problem.
Jack! The temperature's getting worse. It's going up another 4 degrees.
This is Gil Thompson, Gary. He's our health and sanitation leader.
Am I glad you're here? Sure, I remember.
Temperature's 79 and still rising.
Is Radar Chief here? Alan? Yeah. Alan, what's the reading?
Control group reports that fallout's reached the western part of the city.
I'll have to ask you to double as my assistant until we can recruit another deputy to help out. Fine. Let's keep this door closed. And how about getting a meal started?
Summers,
Pete, nobody gets in or out of this door without my permission. If you have any trouble, call me or call Gil Thompson.
about the food, Gary. Except for a few cots and blankets, some tables and chairs, communications equipment, a few other things, we only stock government items. As far as food's concerned, that means survival biscuits and water.
So special foods?
Nothing.
Who's the other deputy? Alice Farber. Alice Farber! Didn't I understand we have several infants? And convalescents, too. How many times have I asked them to appropriate more funds?
Middlebury appropriated supplementary
Yeah, but a little late. Attention, please. And please, everybody, may I have your attention? I'm Gary Bates. As you may know, our shelter manager, Mr. Floyd, is not with us. You may remember, some of you, I'm one of Mr. Floyd's deputies. I've been away for a while. Alice Farber here is another deputy. She'll help you ladies. As Alice has told you already, we're going to make this shelter as safe and as comfortable as we can so that we can survive the attack, but we will have problems. One is to get food for the babies. Now, there should be fresh or canned milk in the cafeteria upstairs. We're expecting fallout any minute. But we should be able to go and get that milk if we do it now. We need men to help. We're calling for volunteers to form a team. If you want to help, step forward.
Thank you. Do you know the plan? No, sir, I don't. Do you? Yeah? Good.
Alan, do you have a monitor?
Right. David?
Okay, Gil. These men with Radef will be a team. Have them check out the cafeteria and get them back here in 20 minutes.
Right. It should be about quarter after, huh?
Right.
Good. Make it as quickly as
Can your teams carry on while you bring me up to date?
Yes, we can, sir.
Good. Now, we've made good use of the operations plan. Now we have to set up a daily schedule. We have an idea of what we need by now, so we should be able to plan a schedule that's practical. I want to make a written record of jobs that will show exactly what is expected of us and when. We'll start with feeding. Who's in charge?
I am. Jack Summers. We're pretty well set. We're just not sure yet how to serve the food. We're trying the idea of using waiters instead of serving cafeteria style. We've improvised serving trays. It seems to present some advantages, that is, and also it'll give some of the kids something to do. And we're passing out the cups and having each person mark his own for identification. As yet, we don't have any place to store the cups safely, but we'll think of something. Now, we're going to ration for 900 calories per day until we know just how long we'll be down here. We've had all of our food personnel checked for good health by the doctor. Water seems okay. As a matter of fact, we don't seem to have any big problems. We only have to decide how to serve the food.
Use waiters. Cafeteria serving means a lot of people moving around, raises temperature and humidity. And service adds something to a meal.
Right.
Now, how about health and sanitation?
That's me, Gary. Well, first we've taken our inventories. I gave them to Eunice. Excuse me, Perry. And we've set up the health and medical supplies over here. Have you collected the diapers and baby things the mothers brought in? Oh, yeah. Good. We should have enough for about 2 weeks. Now, we've got a doctor and a nurse setting up 2 areas. The first area will be our nursery, and the nurse will instruct the mothers in the care of their children. Second area over here is for the convalescents who will need some privacy. Luckily, we have only 1 pregnancy and no contagious diseases. Of course, the doc will help us with any sickness or accidents that might come up. Looks good. Now over here, Gary. We're setting up a commode in the furnace room. How's it going, boys? Pretty good. If we're lucky, we may even be able to draw warm water from the furnace system. If not, we'll have to make do with a hand cream. I've made out a schedule of the routine daily functions, such as, we've got sick call, training classes, inspections, and so forth.
Oh, very good. Have the doctor push medical self-help in his training sessions. May take the load off him later on.
Good idea.
Oh, and Gil, he should post hygiene and sanitation rules on the bulletin board.
Right.
Eunice, later we'll schedule shelter activities so that the convalescents and infants can get their daytime sleep. For now, schedule sanitation inspection at 8:30, sick call at 9, and training classes from, say, 10 to 10:30. Oh, Gil, is it all right with you if we schedule sanitation inspection 3 times a day?
Okay, that's fine. We have one at 8:30, let's say 2 in the afternoon and 7 in the evening.
Fine. Okay, now, who's the head of bunking?
That's my department, Bill James. I've made a sketch here, Mr. Bates. Shows you our thinking.
Oh, cots are well spaced from the headquarters area and furnace room. Plenty of room for chairs and movement. Sick bays are away from traffic over here in the corners. Looks good.
There's a problem, though. We're short about 21 cots and there are only 10 blankets. It may get cooler when we start moving around. I guess they hope this would happen in the pleasant months.
Well, a few of us will have to sleep short hours each night so that everyone gets his rest. Plan a schedule to rotate the sleepers fairly.
Right.
Any ideas for blankets?
I saw some rolls of heavy paper in the corridor when we came in. It makes good covers in a pinch.
That's a good idea, Mr. Bates. Okay, when Radef gets back, have him check out the corridor.
Right.
And get some of that paper in here before it's too late.
Done.
We'll post the hours in the sleeping schedule just as soon as you can get a vote on what they prefer.
Right.
Anything from Control Center on the fallout?
Not yet.
Okay, Phil, how about information and training?
We're in operation, Mr. Bates. I've talked over our information program with the parents here in the shelter, and with our city school teacher, and with Pastor Stewart from United Church. The pastor is going to give short religious talks every evening. We're going for high standards in our shelter. We believe they'll be important now and afterwards when we get outside. We're organizing group discussions, and we're planning talks on shelter living, personal problems, and how to get along with each other. Now, here's our shelter schedule for information and training. Ready, Eunice?
Ready.
News summary and briefing, 9:30 a.m. Children's story hour, 10 a.m. Question and answer period, gripes, 11 a.m. Special activities, 2 p.m. Hey, it's the boys with the milk.
Oh, it's a milk there. Hey.
Yeah, read it.
We got enough milk for a hospital full of babies. Send some. And we didn't forget.
Your attention, please. Your attention, please. This is your civil defense announcer. Fallout has reached the city. Very incomplete reports indicate that radiation levels are moderately high. We don't know when the peak will be reached. It is simply a matter of waiting until we can undertake further measures. You can help by remaining inside your shelter and helping those around you.
Okay, everybody, you've heard the announcement, so please stay in the shelter. And speaking of helping people, I think we should thank the crew that found the milk for the children.
Right, let's have a hand for the boys.
And that brings me to supper. As you probably know, the government provides a good, well-balanced ration of biscuits. Now, we're not going to pretend that this is a diet fit for kings, but it is more than adequate for our survival. The important question now is, when do we eat? As a suggestion, how about 5:30?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, it's 5:10 now. We'll start serving. Pastor Stewart will say grace as soon as we've all been served. Thank you.
And that's how Shelter 126, using its operations plan, got its initial operations going quickly with its deputy manager in charge. Getting its remaining operations underway was comparatively easy after that.
As a member of the information and training team, would you say that this is the best time of day for children's recreation?
Yes, this is a good time. It leaves my mornings free to help the doctor as a member of health and sanitation.
Fine, thank you. I'm working out our daily schedule. What's the best time for the safety team to make fire inspections?
Mornings, I'd say. To check up what's happened at night.
Let's say 8:30 then? How about 2:30 in the afternoon for fire drill?
That's all right. How realistic do you think fire drill ought to be?
Well, we better hold off till we can check with the doc to see how the old folks will take it.
Good idea.
Hey,
So we'll move
nice
them
going,
there.
Dick. That ought to help.
We hope so. How's everything else coming along?
Fine. We're setting up work schedules for the various teams.
What hour have you put down for maintenance?
24 hours a day.
You got the picture.
Nice job.
Attention, please. This is your civil defense announcer. Radioactive fallout has been moderate in the area, but it is dangerous. No one is to leave his shelter. To do so may result in death. Stay in your shelters. We are making every effort to find out if there will be any further accumulation of fallout. Details will be given to you as soon as possible.
The reading is only about .4 in the shelter.
I'm glad we're in here.
Excuse us, but we heard the announcement. Does that mean that we can leave the shelter soon?
No. Fallout is moderate, but it can still be deadly. We'll have to wait some time for it to decay to tolerable levels. We'll keep you informed.
It's begun already.
After several hours, what'll it be like later on?
Well, don't they realize how dangerous it is out there?
The thing we've got to do is make it more livable in here.
And we'll do it. We'll use training, recreation, useful work, and special activities to make shelter life more acceptable for them. And here's how we'll do it.
Eunice, have you transferred the notes to the master schedule?
Yes.
Good. We'll post this schedule on the bulletin board.
This will show them that we're prepared to protect their health, feed them, make the shelter safe, train them in shelter living, and prepare them for the future. In other words, that this is a going, operating shelter.
That was Anthony Zerbe in there. You might know him as the Phantom from Kiss Meets the Phantom. And also he plays the evil guy in Omega Man. If they had figured that out, they would have kicked him out of the shelter back then. Because that guy's nothing but trouble. Nothing but trouble. Okay, so I have another film set up on the scanner. And I've been getting boxes of films from a university in Iowa. They basically were like, we're not using these films. And they reached out to me, and it's the same situation where I paid to get them to come here. So my assistants are like, what's going on? So anyways, this looks to be fascinating. I haven't watched this, but I love it because it is a very niche audience. It's specifically for teachers, and this is a film test of teacher perception Form A. And this, like this last film, is a kinescope. So basically, they shot everything with a video camera and did live mixing, and then transferred it to film as they were broadcasting it. And this is a way to, like the Honeymooners did that. So they basically captured the footage and then distributed it for syndication and things like that. So anyways, this looks to be kind of a trigger film where you watch it and it encourages discussion, but I'm not sure. We'll see how it plays out. I mean, it might be as good as the National Kids Quiz. All right, so here it is. Film test of teacher perception, Form A.
This is a part of the University of Minnesota College of Education closed-circuit television project. The film test of teacher perception has been designed to evaluate how schools interpret school classrooms. You will be shown and you will be asked to respond to a group of you are judgment of characteristics observed. In a strict sense, answers all of the information you may want of your interpretation of what you have applied to a teaching situation. Please do not look at the statements until you have seen the incident. Remember to respond to every item. This is Classroom Incident A. In Incident A, you will observe a junior high school mathematics class. The class has been studying various number systems, and in this incident, the discussion centers around the base of 5. The teacher and the class are considering applications of the base 5 system.
All right, if this is what this symbol stands for, what would come next in our counting? Gary? 11. 11? Well, I'll write this. When I think of 11, I would think of adding one more to what I have here. Now, I think it's time that we clear up how to talk about these symbols in the base 5 language. Maybe we should forget about all of the names that we have for our base 10. Using the word 10, using the word 11, using the word 13, which means 1, 10, and 3, 14, 4, and 10 more, would get us confused. So let's agree to name our symbols in this manner. Let's go by what we might call the dictation method. Let's say that this is 1, 0. And we are in the base 5 system, so we could simply say that this is 1, 0 in the base 5. And if we think in terms of our base 5, we will all know. And then instead of saying 11 here to eliminate the confusion, let's say 1, 1. Now, by this method, what would come next in our counting? Susan? 1, 2. Next. Diane? 1, 3. And next? Gary? 1, 4. And next? Phyllis? 2, 0. Very good. 2, 0. What does the 2 stand for, Phyllis?
Stands for 2, 5.
Very good, and no 1s. And then after 2, 0, we would get, what would be next? Connie? 2, 1, and we see how the pattern goes. We could go on. Eventually we would come to the number 2, 4, and what would come after 2, 4? Darlene? 3, 0. Well, I see that we have the method of counting in base 5, and we could continue counting on from here.
This is classroom incident B. In incident class discussing the poetry of Robert Frost, which they have been reading. The discussion centers around one of his shorter poems.
Now, the question on the floor at the moment is, how does this idea, the importance of maintaining friendships, compare to the other things that Frost has shown us? Think about the poem Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening, for example. Mary.
I think he is always sort of teaching you some poems and subtly suggesting that maybe you should do what he suggested.
All right, if you want to find it, there is a message, a sort of lesson in the poetry that we have read by Robert Frost. Do you all agree? Ellen?
I think he's more or less just pointing it out, so that if you think about it, you might, it might affect you in some way. But I don't think he's trying to teach anyone a lesson as much as trying to point it out so people are aware of what they're doing.
Good. I think we mentioned that the other day. I slept as well as Mary. He is situations and urging you to take advantage of the things that he points out rather than preaching or teaching, isn't it? Connie?
There is another side to this poem where he may be criticizing how eager we are to do something that is not our work, how eager we are for a break. I mean, what I get this from is, and I don't stand still and look around at all the hills I haven't hold and shout from where I am. What is it? No, not as there is in time to talk.
I've heard that interpreted in exactly the opposite way too, Connie. People have said that some of us are so eager to not necessarily work, but to earn money, that we ignore everything else and we just diligently pursue this until we have great piles of it in our storerooms and our banks, and this becomes the most important thing, the controlling force in our life. So
I think it can be interpreted either way. It all depends on what kind of a situation you are in.
Which reminds me of another poem that I think some of you should remember. Do you recall Richard Cory by Robinson?
Yes.
Think of Richard Cory, who one calm summer night went home and put a bullet through his head, and then the man that Frost is describing in this poem. And then what? What's your reaction, Lynn?
Well, in this poem, Richard Cory, he was the type of person who was very sophisticated. He went about the town. It was sort of an air of superiority. So the people said they were quite in awe of him. And then he went home and shot himself.
Why?
Well, he wasn't satisfied, obviously.
Why wasn't he satisfied?
He didn't have any friends or
All
any
right.
relations.
Okay. Do you recall the poem? Do you see the contrast that these two establish? Yes.
Well, just a remark on content. Wouldn't that one line, not as there is time to talk, wouldn't that sort of eliminate her theory? Because he said that he wouldn't do this as long as there was time to talk. Maybe he would if there wasn't time to talk, but he said as long as there was time to talk, he would.
He would talk.
Yeah, except if there wasn't time to talk, maybe he wouldn't. So you
Well,
can't really say...
no, I think he's saying if there weren't an opportunity to talk, if the friend hadn't come along.
I don't know if you'd say he's really procrastinating.
Well, I know that this is your opinion of the poem, and I don't think that I could change your mind, and I don't want to. But you look at it and consider what the others are saying.
This is Classroom Incident C. In Incident C, you will observe 3 episodes from an advanced stenography class. The episodes follow quite closely the sequence of the class period. The group has reviewed the previous assignment, meets new materials, and notes the outside assignment. The class is concerned with mastering the symbols involved in shorthand.
Very good.
What?
That was very good.
Oh. If you would like to take the course, register quickly. If you make the mistake of delaying, we might have to send, no.
Yeah, that's right.
To send you away because our classes are full. The fee, no,
That's right.
the fee for the course of 15 sessions is only $30. Yours truly.
That was very good. There were some very hard outlines in there. All right, now we're going to drill on some brief forms. You remember that in the brief forms, we have characters that represent words because they are used so often in letters and in transcripts. And then later we're going to have some dictation on the first letter in lesson 15. And then we will go over the theory in lesson 16. All right, now say these then as quickly as you can.
Them, from, would, when, should, but, there, he,
were here. That's right.
when, they,
Another one.
which, shall give, with,
That one caused a lot of trouble with were or year, doesn't it?
that, have, believe, for, internet, forward, put, our,
That's Judy's.
to, I, must, like, and more,
Could. All right, let's go back over these now. All right, and then just a little review on this over here.
fun, done, become, come, summer,
This is some. All right.
brush, touch,
Right. All right, that's very good. Now then, for homework, you'll do the same thing. You'll do the letters 140 through letters 142.
This is classroom incident D. In incident D, you will observe a 9th grade common learnings class. Prior to this class period, the group had responded to an opinionaire on the problems of state government. They are now planning together a unit of work around the problems facing the next state legislature. The incident focuses on the discussion involved in identifying problems for further study.
Craig.
Well, here we've been considering things that are going to come up before the legislature and that, and I think that it would, before we go into this, I think we ought to learn something about the legislature and the functions of the government in the state.
Good point, Craig. Susan?
Well, I think we should learn about all the different branches of the government, of the Minnesota government. So that I think that maybe should be the first thing to be taken up because it sort of heads all the rest of the stuff.
Now, what shall I call this topic then? Dan?
Organization of government, I think.
All right. Organization of government, you agree? All right. Now, what are going to be some subpoints under organization? Craig?
Well, I think you could pretty well divide that up into the 3 basic branches of the government, the executive branch and the legislative branch and the judicial branch.
Now, is what you are saying that one committee should study a topic called the organization of government and that they should divide it some way, or should this be 3 separate committees?
Well, I think one committee could do it and then have one person of the committee report on each of these 3 branches.
And this would leave the rest of the class free to identify and study the problems that this government is going to face, right? Would you all agree with that? All right. I think if I abbreviate, you'll be able to understand them all right. Executive, legislative, what was the third one? Judicial. Thank you. That was a good point, Craig. Jackie?
Well, I think also, while we're talking about this organization of government, we should, unless the people have considered this already, talk about who heads that part of the government, and somebody should probably give a report on them.
All right.
Yes, it is for their office.
Like so, Jackie, you mean in the executive department someone should mention specifically the responsibilities of the governor? Paul?
I think that organization of government probably should have been the first thing there. And then the next thing...
excuse me, how many of you agree? I think this is a good point, Paul, and I wonder how the class feels about it. Do you think that organization of government should have been the first one there? Yes? Yes. All right. Can I take care of this by just renumbering, and then when you copy off the board, copy this one first? It would save me a lot of work. 1, 2, 3. Then, Paul, would you like to continue?
Well, I want to say this before you finish renumbering again. I think the second one should be that, well, now we're going to be studying the problems before the legislature.
Yeah.
But I think that there are so many problems that could be a separate group in itself, just defining what the problems are.
Well, now, wasn't this what the opinionaire was all about? On the basis of the discussion following the opinionaire, it seemed to me that this class had identified certain problem areas.
Well, I think that there are more problems than just these, probably, that are smaller, maybe. Or
oh, I agree with you. Is there any...
I think that there are enough for a group report by itself.
Do you? I don't see... I'll put this down, but I don't understand yet. Maybe I can get some help from the class. How many of you feel you know what Paul's talking about?
This is classroom incident E. In incident E, you will observe the culminating discussion in a junior high school science class. To the incident, the class had observed demonstrations on the dispersion of potassium permanganate in water and the dispersion of ether in air. During the incident, the teacher is attempting to guide the class in generalizing from these experiences.
Now let us try to explain some of the things that we have done. I haven't told you why we've done the things we've done. I haven't told you what answers to expect, have I? We've just done them, and you've observed, you've noticed, you've seen things. And now you have some evidence upon which maybe to draw some conclusions. So let's try to draw some conclusions from what we have seen. First of all, let's go back to the potassium permanganate. Let's have another look at what that is. Have we jarred the glass in? Does it remain still? No one stirred it up or anything happening. There's no currents in the water. It's nice, still, pure distilled water with one little grain of potassium permanganate. All right, Peggy, come on up and have a look at it and tell the class, since they can't see it quite as well as you can, what it's doing.
The spaghetti is getting purple on the outside.
All right, the color is moving out from the little pieces. Let's make a little diagram of it on the board if we can. We have a beaker.
It's only on one side though.
And in this beaker, we have put one little grain. I'll use red chalk here so you can imagine that that's what it is. We put one little grain of potassium permanganate. And now what has happened to that color, Tony?
Well, it looks like it's gotten kind of reddish. From here it looks like it's a reflection of that.
No, it's not the reflection of that. This is red, and this is what? I can do something here if I'm real careful to show you that it's not. Put these down there. We'll take this white sheet of paper and just carefully slide this underneath without moving the beaker at all. There, do you see that the red color is still there? Huh? Okay. It's not from this, is it? It's actually in the beaker. What has the red color done, Dana? It has
spread, and I think the experiment you've been doing is the idea of color or sense or something spreading, and which way it spreads or how it spreads, or just a spread. Because you said the way the air spreads, the smell of the ether spreads around the room glass.
real good, Dana. Real good thinking. Both experiments that we've done this morning have showed something spreading, haven't we? In the case of the potassium permanganate, there that color is spreading out from that little tiny grain. In the case of the ether, that odor spread out from the little bottle that we had sitting right up here, right? All right. Why? Let's talk about the potassium permanganate first. Why has that color spread out? Were we stirring it up? Or jarring the table, giving the table a little shake every once in a while to kind of help it along? No. Why did that color spread out? Don, do you have any ideas?
Well, the molecules went away from that grain.
The molecules did what? Oh. I think you were right. Go ahead, say it again. I just didn't quite hear what the last part was.
They're dissolving away from the grain.
The molecules are dissolving away from the grain. What do you mean, away from the grain? How are they getting away from the grain? First of all, maybe we should ask this. What is the color? Why do you see that purple color all around there? Why? Mr. Cohen?
Well, maybe it is one of the color of the elements that makes up that.
All right. All right. The color is the color of the potassium permanganate, for our purposes, what we can call the molecules of it, can't we? All right. Now, why has it gotten from that little spot out to the side?
Could it be because the potassium stuff has oxygen in the air and the water has oxygen in it?
No, it has nothing to do with that. Remember, we're talking about molecules now, people. And we've said one thing about molecules yesterday, that they are what? Someone told us at the beginning of the hour.
Yeah, very tiny.
Very small. What's another thing that we perhaps can conclude about molecules on the basis of our experiments today, Kay?
Well, could it be that they're always moving?
They move.
not being a teacher, I'm sure there were transgressions in there, like I don't know, like subtle things. It seemed like there was a little, like right at the end of a given episode, it seemed like there was something the teacher said that was like, huh, that's interesting. But I don't know. No idea. And that's why it's so great that we're showing you these films at AV Geeks. Like I said, not every film is a wonderful, amazing film. Sometimes we get some duds. Sometimes we get some like, huh? And I was hoping that was going to be more, I don't know. The other trigger films that I have are, they're provocative. And this one is obviously not. This is about some sort of perception or something. I don't know what it is. Maybe one day someone will watch this and write me a email about it. Anyhow, thanks for tuning in today and going through. I mean, this was like a premiere. I don't think this film has been shown in the 21st century, so this is like a time capsule that we just opened and we're all scratching our heads about. But if you like what you saw, or at least you like the concept of what we do here at AV Geeks, perhaps you did not like today's show, but you can hit the thumbs up button, you can hit the like button, you can send us some cash via the super thanks option in YouTube chat or comments. You can also go to ko-fi.com/avgeeks or patreon.com/avgeeks. Those are ways to donate. And what I'm discovering is that if you watch other films in our channel, we get ad revenue, and that is paying for 4 storage units of films and shelving. So keep doing that and tell your friends to watch them so that we can get some more revenue. And then maybe you can, like, after this, you can go, like, I want to watch something more interesting. So you go click and watch a film about rabies, because that seems like what everybody's watching right now. Again. But thanks for tuning in. We'll be back again tomorrow. And I should say that on Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm going to be in Toronto, Canada. And I'm doing a screening. It won't be actual film this time, but I'll be doing a screening and talking about the collection at University of Toronto. I'm going to find out if that is a public event or if that's just for students and faculty. So if anybody's in Toronto, do a shout out and I'll figure it out. Thanks again. We will see you again tomorrow. And I'll try to pick some more interesting films. Yeah. Or maybe not. Who knows? All right. Take care.